Welcome to the home of WWE news, rumors, and gossip in real time. Click the bell, subscribe, and turn on all notifications today. Don't forget to become a channel member and send a super thanks donation below. And now, your host. He is the most consistent and dedicated in YouTube history, SeanzViewEnt.
The last 24 hours in the WWE, the amount of confirmed backstage information, the rumors, the news, the innuendo, ladies and gentlemen, has come out about WrestleMania, the WWE, is generally staggering. And none of it is what WWE wanted you to know at this stage of the game. There are creative decisions being reversed. There are debut announcements that nobody saw coming. There are broadcast partners making calls that should never be their call to make. And there is a pattern running underneath every single story tonight that connects all of it into one picture that is impossible to ignore once you see it. 6 huge confirmed blockbuster stories, along with news, rumors, and headlines, along with my view, because without you, there is no Sean View. Ladies and gentlemen, all sourced, all real, all breaking in the last several hours before WrestleMania 42. By the time we are done this evening, you are going to understand exactly what is happening inside the WWE right now. Not the version they are putting on television. We're talking about the real version. Let's get into it right here and right now. Let's satisfy your taste buds as concerns all things professional wrestling in 2026, because as you should know, the fix is absolutely in. Ladies and gentlemen, here is what we are covering in this very video, because there is a lot to cover, and every single one of them matters heading into WrestleMania 42 weekend in under 2 weeks' time, because it's not going to be this weekend. It will be next weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Night 1 and night 2. What night to you looks better, night 1 matches or night 2 matches? In my opinion, night 2 steals the show by leaps and bounds. In my opinion, night 2 will be the WrestleMania. Night 1 is one of those things that seems like you could kind of skip it, ladies and gentlemen, but I want your feelings, your thoughts about, is WrestleMania Night 1 got the better matches or WrestleMania Night 2? And again, this is why I hate the dynamic of 2 nights of WrestleMania. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about, you've come here for the news, the rumors, and headlines. WWE scrapping SmackDown plans. Jelly Roll discussions. Royce Keys debuting Friday on SmackDown. Finally. The Usos theme getting dumped already. Their new song that they used last week. Steve Maclin returning to TNA Sacrifice. And the WrestleMania 42 card situation. Night 1 opener confirmed. Night 2 opener confirmed. And ESPN reportedly having more influence over this card than most WWE fans really realize. According to WrestleVotes Radio on Fightful Select, WWE has reworked plans for this Friday's SmackDown, and the reason is exactly what you think it is. The Pat McAfee, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton angle did not land the way WWE hoped. The reason from the audience, the reaction from the audience, both live and online, social media blow up, was not what they needed heading into WrestleMania 42. And now with just days to go before the biggest show of the year, the Super Bowl of professional wrestling, WWE is sitting in rooms trying to figure out what to do with a story that was supposed to be one of the marquee builds on the card. Here is where it gets very interesting, though. Additional outside involvement has been speculated internally, and among the names that have come up in those conversations, of course, Jelly Roll. Now, look, Jelly Roll is legitimately one of the biggest artists in the country right now. Enormous fan base, great human interest story, the kind of personality that translates well to a WWE stage. But think about what WWE is actually doing here for a second. The audience rejected outside involvement in the Orton and Rhodes build. The reaction to McAfee told them clearly that this story does not need a celebrity. It needs Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, 2 of the best performers on this roster, doing what they do best. And WWE's response to that audience feedback is, okay, well, what if we tried a different celebrity? What if we went a different route? What if we pivoted? Well, here's the thing. Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, it already writes itself. The significance is there. The history is there. The bad blood is there. The fuel is there. You did not need any outside interference in this feud. But that is exactly what the WWE ended up doing. Now, that is not going back to the drawing board. That is going back to the same drawing board and drawing the same picture with different crayons. And the people who actually understand what makes this product work, the talent, the creative team, the Triple H side of this equation, are reportedly watching this conversation happen in real time and shaking their heads. Is the WWE going to cancel it? Is the WWE going to scrap it? Is the WWE going to get rid of Pat McAfee altogether? Does the WWE truly know what they are doing? Does the WWE know what they've gotten themselves into, viewers, fans, and subscribers? Now we go into this massive SmackDown breaking news. Remember, for more videos like this, like, comment, share, subscribe today. Royce Keys is debuting on SmackDown this Friday night. For those who have been following NXT and the developmental system, this name is not a surprise. For main roster only fans, this is your introduction. Here is why this matters beyond just a debut announcement. WWE does not bring up people on SmackDown in WrestleMania week casually. This is the highest visible window of the entire year. The audience watching Friday's SmackDown is larger than almost any other episode because WrestleMania weekend brings casual fans back to the product. Debuting Royce Keys in the window tells you that people on the wrestling side of this company believe in this performer enough to give him the biggest possible first impression. That is a vote of confidence from people who actually watch talent develop week to week. In a week full of corporate decisions driven by ESPN synergy and celebrity crossover, a straight-up wrestling talent debut is a breath of fresh air. Watch for him on Friday. And are you looking forward to the debut of Royce Keys in the WWE? And do you feel that SmackDown will be a good fit for him, the former Powerhouse Hobbs in AEW? WWE has already scrapped the Usos' new theme after the crowd reaction fell completely flat to it. And again, I reported on this. I talked about it on X. If you want to follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, you can go do that right now. But that is it. That is the whole story on the surface, because here is the layer underneath the Usos. The Usos are one of the most decorated acts in WWE history. Their previous theme was over. The crowd knew it. The crowd reacted to it every single time it hit. It was part of the identity of a tag team that has delivered one of the biggest stages that this company has. Someone decided to change it. That decision went through multiple layers of approval, and the crowd told them immediately and without any diplomacy whatsoever that they made a mistake. WWE listened. They scrapped it. Now here is the question I want you to sit with. If WWE can hear the audience on the Usos theme song and act immediately, why is the same representativeness so much harder to find when the audience is reacting to Pat McAfee in a WrestleMania build or ESPN pushing placement decisions on the biggest show of the year? The audience is always talking. The question is always, who is listening? Ladies and gentlemen, we got breaking news on a massive return. Ladies and gentlemen, according to the dirt sheets, the websites, and the newsletters at this hour, huge TNA news. Steve Maclin is back. For anyone who missed the TNA Sacrifice update, Maclin returned to the ring after an injury scare that had people generally concerned about his status. The fact that he is back after competing is good news for TNA and good news for a performer who has been one of the most considerable and consistently solid acts on that roster. Now, here I am covering a TNA story in a WWE-focused video tonight. TNA has changed its stance on talent working with other promotions this week. We covered that in the WWE split script earlier this week and talked about how that open door changes the leverage equation for WWE talent who are frustrated with TKO's creative interference. Steve Maclin returning at TNA is a reminder that TNA is functioning, active product and it's worth watching. And in a week where WWE's own roster is expressing frustration about creative direction, the fact that TNA is healthy, growing, and now open to cross-promotional work is a detail that matters to the bigger picture of professional wrestling in 2026, as we are now 4 months deep into the year. Happy to see Maclin back. That is a good story in a week full of complicated ones. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we turn our attention WrestleMania 42, Night 1 opener, Night 2 opener, and the ESPN story that connects both of them. This is the one that ties everything together, so stay with me for this one because this is volatile, and this is absolutely star-studded breaking news. According to WrestleVotes Radio, WrestleMania 42 Night 1 on April 18th is currently set to open with a 6-man tag team match with Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and ISO Speed taking on the Usos and LA Knight. That placement is notable according to the report because of the crossover appeal involved. WWE wants immediate mainstream attention right out of the gate. Let me translate that from corporate speak into plain language. WWE is opening the biggest wrestling show of the year with a match that was built around YouTube subscribers, streaming audiences, and social media followers rather than wrestling storylines or athletic credibility. Logan Paul, a legitimate crossover star, genuinely athletic, and has earned the respect from the wrestling audience through his work. ISO Speed, one of the most watched streamers in his world. He has enormous audience, his genuine enthusiasm for WWE, but is not a professional wrestler by any definition. Austin Theory, talented performer being used here, and the wrestling anchor for a celebrity package. The Usos and LA Knight, two acts who deserve better than being the opposite opponents in a celebrity showcase on Night 1 of WrestleMania. Now, I am not saying that this match cannot be fun. Logan Paul consistently delivers in this environment. The crowd in Las Vegas will be electric regardless. In WWE, an IShowSpeed streaming audience to tune in to WrestleMania 42 is generally valuable for the long-term health of the product. But this match is opening night one at WrestleMania 42. The tone setter, the first impression, and the decision to put it on there as a corporate decision, not a wrestling decision. Then, ladies and gentlemen, we got night two, April the 19th. Currently set to open is Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar. In my opinion, this should be the co-main event of night two of WrestleMania, not the opener. But it's going to be a great way to get the crowd involved and very loud and boisterous. Great match on paper, two absolute monsters, legitimate star power, makes sense as an opener for night two in terms of pure wrestling logic. But here's the detail that changes everything. Outside influence played a role in this placement. ESPN reportedly pushed for Brock Lesnar to be featured prominently across its platforms, and according to the report, WWE was more than willing to accommodate. Let me say this again clearly so it lands the way it should. ESPN, a sports broadcast network, told WWE where Brock Lesnar should be positioned on the WrestleMania 42 card, and WWE said yes. Now, I want to be fair here. Brock Lesnar is legitimately one of the biggest draws in the history of the business. ESPN wanting him prominently featured is not irrational. He is a former WWE champion. He's a former UFC champion. He is one of the youngest champions in the history of the WWE, one of the most dominant combat fighters in the world. He crosses over into the mainstream sports conversation in a way that very few professional wrestlers ever have. But the process matters. When a broadcast partner starts making placement decisions on WrestleMania, when ESPN can pick up the phone and say, we want Lesnar here, and WWE accommodates, the creative independence of this company has been compromised in a way that goes beyond anything we have documented before. CM Punk called it out on Raw this week. He named TKO and Ari Emanuel directly, and TKO edited that part out of their social media post. And then sources confirmed that ESPN influenced the WrestleMania 42 card placement. Those two things happening in the same week are not unrelated. They are the same story. Corporate entities making wrestling decisions, and the people inside that locker room watching it happen. Triple H said two words on Cody Rhodes' podcast about Cody's critics this week. Two words that told you exactly what side of this fight he is standing on. And WrestleMania 42 is in Las Vegas in just mere days away. Now, WWE scraps plans because the audience rejected outside celebrity involvement. The immediate discussion, bringing in a different outside celebrity, same decision, different face. The Usos theme gets scrapped because the crowd rejected it, showing WWE can and does respond to audience feedback when the stakes feel manageable. Royce Keys debuting a straight wrestling talent, getting a deserved opportunity through legitimate development work. Night one of WrestleMania opens with a celebrity crossover package built for streaming audiences and social media followers. Night two opens with a match placement that ESPN influenced because they wanted their broadcast partner to feature Brock Lesnar prominently, their platform. Every one of these stories is real. Every one of this is confirmed. And together they paint a picture of a company that is simultaneously capable of doing the right thing. Royce Keys listening to the crowd. Now, again, Royce Keys has been a long time coming. People have been wanting it. They've been anticipating it. They've been praying for it. And now you're finally going to get it. And hopefully we're going to appreciate it. That tension is WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas is going to feel every single piece of it live. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got this one right here. 6 confirmed stories, 1 pardon, a company heading into WrestleMania 42, making corporate decisions in real time with the Las Vegas show, the Mecca, just days away. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here on SeanzViewEnt Entertainment, we give you the appeal. Liv Morgan, we got breaking news on Liv Morgan. Now, this is something else because out of the 2 women's world title matches at WrestleMania, they both almost got canceled due to injury. We all saw what happened on Monday Night Raw backstage with Liv Morgan and how she conked heads, and we saw exactly the consequences of what happened to Liv Morgan after that backstage segment went a little bit over the top. It went a little bit over the line. It was a little too violent. It was a little too volatile. And then we all know what went down with Jade Cargill and the challenger to the WWE Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley, who was hospitalized earlier this morning. So that already put 2 women's championship matches in grave danger at WrestleMania. But it would appear as if those 2 matches, again, because there was a lot of rumor, there was a lot of gossip, there was a lot of speculation that both the women's title matches were going to be derailed or canceled or changed due to injury. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, that is the rumor, but the rumor is that the rumor has it. The rumor has it that SeanzViewEnt Entertainment gives you the hottest, the latest, the greatest, the newest, the most defiant, and the most brutal. Also, the reason is being called on set, right, guys? You know, it's all about the real reason being exposed. It's all about the real reason being unleaked online. The reason Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar not main eventing WrestleMania 42 Night 1. And again, originally, I guess it was going to be on WrestleMania 42 Night 1. And Alberto Del Rio faces up to 20 years in prison following his recent arrest. Your thoughts, your comments, your opinions, and your emotions on all of that. Also, Liv Morgan reveals shoulder injury broke her mentally in a way that nothing else ever had. Because at one time, Liv Morgan thought that was it. This is done. I'll never be able to come back, but she was able to overcome the odds, and she was able to satisfy her wrestling career, and now she's going to be, well, hopefully in one of the women's world title matches at WrestleMania despite injury. And this is a very special report here on SeanzView Entertainment, where if it went for you, there would be no SeanzView. Plenty more to come, where we keep you in the know and glued to your screen, because that's what it means to the brash and the brazen. We raise the bar to all new levels and new heights, where we climb the ladder of success, because it's all about each and every one of you. And remember, viewers, if it's not brash, it's never gonna last. Subscribe.